Hello, everyone. My name is Mike Vanderpool, and I teach visual communication and graphic design here in Archbold, Ohio, at Northwest State Community College. I want to start with thanking everyone in education, higher ed, K 12, corporate training, everybody who has continued to help our population learn and grow as best as possible through the rapid changes that were part of our day to day as our communities and our country and our world responded to COVID-19. To say that the past half a semester has been challenging is an understatement. I've spoken with my peers who are faculty members and teachers, technology directors in K-12 specifically, learner services across the board, and there's a whole bunch of people who did amazing things over the past half a semester, trying to do what was best for our learner by still allowing them those opportunities to grow as individuals. I think that some of us are, overwhelmed right now, to say the least, of the rapid response that we had to make. Did what we could to make the best of things. Some of us probably feel some bit of success by what we've been able to accomplish, and I'm sure that there are some of those of you out there who feel like, man, we could have done so much better. I, for one, go back and forth daily depending on what's happening on how I feel, but I pretty much can guarantee that all of us feel a little bit exhausted by all of this. Also know there's lots of questions about what the fall is going to look like, with so much uncertainty in the air. So I think that this is an opportunity for us as a community, not just Northwest Ohio, but Ohio in general. Our politicians have had to make some hard decisions, and I think that we've seen some positive results from that. Same way with our leadership here on our campus, and I know other campuses and other institutions and organizations have had to make some really hard decisions, and are going to continue to have to make some hard decisions as we move into what will be I'm going to make the assumption, the new normal of how we engage with others in places of business and education. And I know we're all tired, excessively tired. I know after I grade my last final, I will be taking a very, very, very long nap. But I don't want to lose this opportunity either, because inside of challenges, that's when innovation happens. That's when growth occurs. And I'm fortunate right now that, I'm sitting inside of our campus, partially because, I have been adopted by our RT department as somebody who is considered part of essential services, as somebody who was helping faculty and other people employ Zoom and other technologies. Day after this happened, we were ready to run a Zoom farm, and I think that's phenomenal because we as an institution have been able to do some things that others might not have been able to, our size, our resources, and things like that. So to continue that and to do what we can to make sure that we learn from this and maximize the opportunity that I think is in front of us as we problem solve towards our new normal, is I would like to invite the community in higher ed, specifically community colleges in Ohio, K-12, pretty much come if you want, come as you are, to a virtual summit that we're going to host through probably Zoom and some other technologies, if we can work that out, in the first part of June. Now, what we hope to do is we hope to gather the community together to share stories, lessons learned, and talk about what went right, what went wrong, what can we do differently moving forward. All with a focus on making sure that we're providing the opportunities for learning and growth that I think are fundamental towards us being able to handle the next challenges that we're faced with. So this virtual summit will not be a lot of presentations. That's not the point here. The point here is to talk and share. We're going to bring in a community of learners to talk about some of their experiences, faculty, learner services across the board, trying to talk about four main topics. Communication. if anything that I think, my institution has learned, and I'm sure many others, is that connecting and communicating to the various populations that we serve is very difficult, even when we are face to face. When we go remote, some more challenges either emerged or new things that we hadn't thought about before. So how did some of you handle communicating to your learner populations? How did you handle communicating with each other through your departments, divisions, your peer groups? We're also going to talk about data. There have been a lot of opportunities for us to serve our population better through this by having access and collecting data. So we have data stores, we have data information. What are some of the things as we move forward? What are some of the ways that we can collect and use data to help inform some of the decisions that we may have to make as we move forward? Great example of this, Governor DeWine, when he was speaking about how they were going to determine who they were going to release from incarceration, or who they could potentially release from incarceration. It was amazing to hear him talk through how they analyzed data to come to some of those decisions. So I think our new normal includes communication and a better use of the data, probably that we already honestly have. The other two things are the ones that are probably most closest to my heart. Remote instruction. I am a firm believer that the best of online and the best of face-to-face, if we take those and put them together, we're going to be able to do amazing things and serve a much wider population, providing more access. Now, there's challenges inside of that, of course, right? None of this is easy. But what I am most fearful of, and I'll speak frankly here, what I'm most fearful of is that even though we have called this remote learning, it's still in the minds of many of our learners considered online learning. And I've heard it, I'm sure many of you have heard it, there are quite a bit, shouldn't say quite a bit, there's at least enough of our population that don't want to do that because of some of the negative connotations that exist from it. I'm hoping that some of those things aren't reinforced because of this past experience. So I'd like to get out in front of that and talk about how we might be able to better employ the existing tools that we have, incorporate some of the pedagogy that we may or may not be aware of into the day-to-day of what we're doing as we try to help people learn and grow. Fourth day of this virtual summit will be focused on learner services, right? Deploying those things like our food pantry, mental well-being, health, all of those things, all of those ways that we holistically help people to learn and grow. Those services hugely challenged as part of this as well. Career services, even some of the things I'm involved with, esports, student activities, things like that. How can we take what has happened over the past, half of a semester? How can we take these lessons learned and apply them to what our new normal is so that going forward we are ready for anything? And at the same time, probably better able to serve and provide access to a wider population than we were before. So I'm encouraging you to sign up. Come hang out if you can. We'd love to hear your stories. This whole thing is about sharing experiences so that we learn from it. I mean, that's fundamental to how we've survived as a species for as long as we have, right? Sharing information with each other. And I don't want us to lose this opportunity, because we all know the day-to-day of running through this semester, there's not that much time to sit back and reflect. Summer is typically our time to be able to do that. Summer is also the time that we want to recharge our batteries. So hopefully we can collect that information through conversation. The first part of June, document it, store it, share it out in nuggets with everybody else who wants to learn from this. And then we as a collective of individuals who I'm going to assume here are hoping to be able to help people become better versions of themselves through providing access to opportunities and growth and learning, that are the way forward, as we've done with some other things here during this crisis, is that Ohio can lead. So what we're calling this is the Ohio Leads Virtual Summit. We'll be using the hashtag Ohio Leads, and it is one of the things that I hold pretty close to my heart because this is the world that I live in and want to live in. So I invite each and every one of you who want to talk about the potential of what education can look like in the new normal. Please, please, please come, share, hang out. Would love to chat.